she comes, that's all.
All right, I'm back.
Thanks, Betsy.
Mhm.
I need to quit rattling papers. Okay, then roll call, please.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Valentine,
Here.
Lewis,
Lewis, I didn't hear anything from you.
Here, yes.
Nelson,
Here.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Thank you. I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Second motion.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Valentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to reports. Mayor, do you have a report?
Yes, I'll have a brief one this evening. As most of you have probably seen, that City Hall is getting a facelift. We're doing some painting, and that's almost complete. We've replaced a few of the boards that have been bad, and the guys are doing a real good job. Our new ADA compliant playground is awaiting its final touches and a walkway. We will be holding a Facebook Live grand opening celebration that Rick Dula can speak more about shortly. Also, in participating in a September's Random Acts of Fun. I'm going to try to share my screen here, see if that will.
I have to stop sharing, I think. Okay. There you go. You should be able to share now. So Mayor, we see the screen. What's up with that?
Okay, no, that's the Random Acts of Fun. That's a banner that's put out by the Community Partnership on Aging, and so they're coming up with a fundraiser, which is a task-oriented scavenger hunt event to benefit the Community Partnership on Aging. Details can be found on their website. The registration is $25. And one of the many tasks that are up there is to find the mayor. Most of the mayors of the cities that are participating in the Community Partnership on Aging are participating. And I'll be located at Greenwood Farm on September the 10th between 11 o'clock and noontime. And the intent is to find me, get a picture, and post it, and then you've got another bonus in your scavenger hunt kind of situation. So we're hoping to get this fundraiser going and have people go around to the highlights of some different cities in different locations. So I decided we'd try to do that at Greenwood Farm. So this banner is going to be put up for several days in front of Greenwood Farm as a reminder of the scavenger fundraiser.
Okay, interesting. I was wondering I tried reading about it and I thought, like, what is this about? So good, thanks.
Yeah, and apparently when I was sharing my screen, my spacebar stopped working on the mic. So I'm not sure how that's why that happened, but it happened. And then we also are having follow-up discussions on the physical daily checks on the water main break at the area on Richmond Road. So we're keeping up to date on that. Don and his crew is doing a great job on that. So that concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer questions as we go along. And I'll do a stop share, and so you can bring yours back up.
Okay. Thank you. Well.
We'll get this technique down yet, right?
Right. Yeah. Share screen. Screen 2. I'm telling. I clicked. Okay. Maybe.
You had it on there.
Well, did I? I didn't
You
know.
had it for a second. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, you see it? Okay.
I see it.
Oh, I was seeing something else. Okay, now it tells me that too. All right, thank you. Chief Newman, do you have a report?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Council President Henry, Mayor Roche, members of council, and members of our community. Just very briefly, an update with COVID-19 in our city. I'm happy to report that all of our firefighters are healthy and safe, and nobody's out of work related to the COVID-19 crisis, so we're fully staffed. Based on the information provided by the Cuyahoga County Board of Health, as of August 21st, 2020, there are 9,261 lab confirmed COVID-19 cases in Cuyahoga County, so just a little bit under 10,000, with 404 lab confirmed COVID-19 related deaths. 300 to 441 of the confirmed cases of COVID-19 are in the 44143 zip code, which includes Richmond Heights, Highland Heights, and Mayfield. Cuyahoga County, I'm happy to report that Cuyahoga County has been downgraded to an orange alert level 2. We were at a red. Orange alert level 2 is defined as increased exposure and spread in our area. So we'd like to get down lower into the yellow zone if we could. They still advise to exercise a high degree of caution and follow all current health orders. In Richmond Heights, our firefighters since March 26th have responded to 77 suspected COVID-19 cases, and 23 of cases that they transported were confirmed COVID-19. But we're relying heavily on our PPE. It is working for us. We're very well stocked. We did prepare. We've been seeking grant funding, which we've been successful at to provide for all city departments. Just to help our community, Richmond Heights does partner with Cuyahoga County in the Ready Notify alerting system. And for example, we recently had a situation where we had a water main break, and then there was water that was cloudy after that, which wasn't related to the water main. And we put that information out through Ready Notify. And the way it works is residents subscribe to that service. So they actually have to subscribe to it. It is free. There's no charge. It sends messages to home phone, sends it to email, sends it to text message. Even works in TDD for the deaf. So it's an outstanding emergency notification system, and the county is able to provide that to the municipality at no cost to our residents. Information about signing up for it, how to sign up with links to the sign up can be found on our city website. If somebody is a little bit challenged with using a computer, they can certainly call me and I will guide them through the process over the telephone or help them do it. But it's an outstanding—
Excuse me, Chief Newman.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Chief Newman. Did
Yes,
Mr. Ferrone call you today to get signed up
No, sir. But I was out of the office about 4 hours on a call today. So
He called me and I
may
gave
have
him your
missed-
number. He said he was going to call you to get signed up.
as of about 5, no, but I will watch for his
Okay.
call.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. So far in Richmond Heights, we have about 1,200 residents signed up for this service. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to take any questions.
I just had a quick update for you, Frank. This week, I think we've had a lot of requests, and we've assisted through the administration office also to get people signed up. So we've signed up between, I think, six and 10 people
Yeah.
this last few
This
days.
is an older
So,
gentleman that doesn't have capability for computers, and
Yeah.
he knows his neighbor has it, and he would like to get it, and
Yeah.
then turn him on to the chief.
and it's available. There's a technique to sign on as a guest, and someone else can help sign people up as a guest, and then put the phone number in, and so you can get a Ready Notify, on a rotary phone if that's what you want. So we're getting the technique down, and as the chief said, we're up over 1,200 people have signed up, and it's a good service.
It's a good program.
and
Yes.
you can,
Very good.
Thank you. Chief Wetzel, do you have a report?
Good evening, everyone. I do just the police department, we're all doing healthy and doing well. A thank you to our safety director, mayor, and Chief Newman for staying on top of it for us, helping us do that, getting us what we need. Also, special thank you to our service department and Lee Courtney and our fire department working well together on that water leak that came in late at night. It was pretty quick before that road was, operational as best we could get, and still is, and hopefully is going to be cleaned up soon, back to all the lanes. On Monday, I thought I'd share this with you. It was a positive experience. Myself and Lieutenant DiBiase, we were hoping to drive out to Washington, D.C., but COVID prevented that. So we did have a virtual meeting yesterday with Phil Keith and his assistant, Shannon Long. Phil is the director of the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, the COPS office. He's also the chair of the President's Commission on Law Enforcement and Administration of Justice. And we discussed and recommended strongly to them to use our youth outreach programs that have been successful with us in this city. We honestly believe over at our HPD that we've got some answers that could help not just our police department, but police departments nationally by connecting with young people, just all the positive stuff that comes with that. It was a very good meeting, and they were very interested, and we're hoping some good things come out of that. And also, as part of that meeting, we also discussed a new program that Lieutenant DiBiase's been working on. This is kind of our own brainchild. A few years ago, we sadly lost a couple to domestic violence, to murder-suicide in 2018. And as a result, a little girl named Bella is now orphaned. And the lieutenant's putting a program together. Annie Sims was the victim of this, and she's starting a program called Annie's Angels, where she's going to teach high school kids the dangers and risks involved with domestic violence, just to let them know, how much hurt's caused, how to avoid it, how to control yourself, all the things that go into that. And that is a project in the works right now, and we brought that up as well with our meeting with those national officials. So that'll be an exciting thing. Also, we added Tim Lowe to as our new auxiliary police officer. He was just added a few days. He was ceremonially sworn in by Mayor Roach. We're excited to have him. He's got quite the pedigree. He's a resident of Richmond Heights, lives near Senator Yuko. Just a really good guy, and excited to come on. You'll be seeing him around. I know our streetlights have been an area of concern. Our officers have gone out a couple of times recently and just really picked up on a lot of the lights. We've called them in with a special note that they're replaced with LEDs. I guess at first, I think it was Councilman Ursu told us about some that were to Sand Park, and when we replaced them, I think the mayor drove through and recognized that they were not the right kind. So we got back in touch with them, and LEDs are put in. So we're trying to stay on that matter. And so if you hear of any or need us to check them again, we'll make that part of our regular routine. Just want to let you know, Bolt got a bulletproof vest donated the other day for him. That whole price point was about $1,300, and that was donated from a Brady's Canine Fund, which was very generous of them. So again, they saved us a lot of money, and our dog now has a solid looking bulletproof vest, and on the side of it, monogrammed, is a dedication to Kubo, our prior canine. So I thought that was the classy thing to do. And I just wanted to close in thanking Dr. Donovan Huff. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He owns a couple or runs a couple doctor clinics right there at the Fox building at Richmond and Highland. And his daughter is in our Cop Scouts program. He's just so impressed with it that his two doctor's offices actually donated money that was to be specifically earmarked for our Cop Scouts program. We also had Todd Leisure recently reach out to canine a youth cop program, can't think of it, a charity, and they donated money as well. And then Dr. Huff indicated he's got one of his patients who wants to give money to that. So not only is it our gov deals, but we've got people that are very generous with our Cop Scouts program. So we're excited about that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the chief? All right, we'll go to Building Commissioner Jim Uranker. I don't think I've heard anything from him tonight.
Yeah, Jim would like to have him excused this evening. He's been working many hours and he's trying to get everything organized there. So thanks.
Thank you. And Finance Director Jim Technip.
Thank you, Council President Henry, Mayor Roach, members of council, and our residents in the city of Richmond Heights. Two brief items that were discussed in the Finance Committee meeting last Tuesday, and also this evening's Council of the Whole or committee meeting. They're both resolutions that I'd ask council to approve. Resolution 79-2020 is a resolution which we do annually to accept and certify the amounts and rates as determined by the Cuyahoga County Budget Commission for the necessary tax levies in the city of Richmond Heights for the tax collection year 2021. I would ask the council to approve that this evening. And another item is to approve resolution 80-2020, which authorizes a payment to Walter Drain Company. And we use Walter Drain Company for the codification of our legislation annually. And I'd ask council to approve that. And this concludes my report.
Thank you. Recreation Director Rick Dula.
Thank you, Council President Henry, Mayor Roach, members of council, and our Zoom audience tonight. Another beautiful night. The last time I heard, Indians were winning, so that's a good thing. 4-2.
Right.
Anyway, I'm the Recreation Director. I can say those things, I guess. Just a couple quick items. We're working on the ribbon cutting ceremony for, it's going to be streamed live on Facebook. That's going to be Thursday morning, September 10th at 10 a.m. It should be a quick ceremony. We've got our dignitaries all lined up, and we're working through the agenda for that.
Rick, can I interrupt you for a minute?
You may, Councilman Lentine.
Just as a suggestion, it would be great if we're taking pictures that day, and I'm sure we are. It'd be great to have some kids there. Can we rent a few kids to come out and be in the picture taking? I think it would make a great photo op for the whole city.
We can consider that. We went to the streaming so as not to attract a huge crowd. With the
I think a couple of boys and a couple of girls would be just great. We could keep them apart, maybe sitting on the slide or on a swing. I think it would look great.
We can
Just
work on that.
Thank you.
No, all good.
I
Appreciate
have some, Frank.
You have some what? You have some
I have
kids?
some boys.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I was thinking he's talking like he can pick kids up from God knows where. We're all too old. So Juanita's the only one. I guess he got some grandkids or something, but
I've got some too, Frank.
All right. Well, can we borrow them or can we buy them for a few minutes?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be there.
I think it'd be
We'll
We
nice.
will work on that. Thank you. It was a great suggestion.
hey, and bring your masks. Tell them bring their mask.
That's right. That's right. Number
Right.
2, are we done with that
Mm-hmm.
item, Councilman Lentine?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Yep.
All right, perfect. Second item, we're working on signage related to the COVID-19 and sanitizing the playground and mask wearing and hand washing and proper social distancing. So we're working on the language for some signage for the playgrounds, both at the Sand and the new playground at Community Park. And then Thursday last week, the governor came out with some new regulations and guidelines regarding high school and youth sports, soccer being one of them in the fall, and kind of did a 180 from our previous conversation that we had at the last council meeting, where we kind of we decided as a group, staff-wise and council-wise, that we would take a more conservative approach to gathering people together, whether it be youth or adults, teens, and such. So the governor said that high school football and soccer, those type of contact sports, they've laid out some new regulations, and so the South Euclid Soccer Club, which we are part of, has reapproached us, and we had some discussions this morning in our staff meeting at City Hall, the administrative team, about their wishes to. They have shared with us a plan that they put together and are asking us to, reconsider our, currently we're closed for business for soccer and fall baseball and such, and they're asking us to see if we would reconsider and do a 180 on that decision and allow them to have a season based on their guidelines that they've put together using information from the CDC, the state of Ohio Health Department, the Ohio Travel Soccer League, which they are part of, that governs all the travel leagues and such in Ohio, as well as the recreational play. I'm just looking to see if members of council would have any input to share with me tonight or at a later time, later this week, and to help our staff make a good decision with obviously the input from the 7 council members.
So are they going by the guidelines set up by the governor or whatever? So if the governor changes his mind in 3 weeks, then are they going to revert back to whatever the guidelines become at that point?
Right. They understand that things can change in a moment's notice or a weekly notice. And yes, they are prepared to, if the governor changes his mind in 3 weeks and says, no, we have to shut things down, they would obviously follow, those recommendations. And obviously we would have some input as well as the, city providing the field space for that program. And primarily that would be just the Sand Park on Saturdays. And we've talked about, the mayor had some great concerns this morning that I talked with Pastor Banks, who is president of that organization currently, about, overlapping, one group coming in and having enough time to clear the parking lot before the next group of, parents and players come in, limiting spectators to 2 people per player, restroom cleaning. I've talked with Service Director Korniski about that, and getting the fields lined, coaches and spectators, and socially distancing the spectators with chalk and cones, sterilizing their equipment between games. So it really sounds like they've got, they've worked hard on this, and I could easily give my full support to going with this, or if the council and the staff determine that, we want to maintain a conservative approach still, I could back that as well. So, but I think they might deserve a chance, for our kids to get together under the guidelines that they've set forth. So,
Madam President?
Yes.
My idea would be that if Rick Dula, after reviewing thoroughly the South Euclid Soccer Club rules, believes that they are reasonable, I'd be more than happy to see kids out playing and enjoying sunshine and fresh air, and I would be 100% behind it. if he, after his review, he thinks those rules are reasonable and good.
Okay.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
I agree. I say go for it.
Okay.
I do too.
Just as real quick update, there's more than one set of rules, and we had discussed that this morning also. But there's a rules of hosting, and so there's a kind of rules of the game of the team and all that stuff. But there's also rules of the game of hosting, and that's part of the thing, saying, hey, you not necessarily have 10 teams on the field at the same time, where the rules of the team is, you got a certain number on the team and certain things. So we will be reviewing that too. So it's just not the team rules. It's also mandates from the state on the city or the person that owns the field or controls the field. And we'll take all those things into consideration. I think we all want to try to accommodate kids playing and doing all these things, but we need to, follow the guidelines.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you, Mayor.
Okay.
That's all I have for tonight, unless there's any other comments or questions.
Madam President, I have a
Yes.
question for Rick. So I'm aware, of course, and I think everybody is, that Highland Heights pool was open this summer. Highland Heights had baseball leagues going on, and I believe Suffolk Lyndhurst Dad's Club went forward with some baseball playing as well. Have you heard back from any of the folks who were in authority of those leagues that were going on, and have you heard anything from the Highland Heights rec director regarding the pool and so forth that you could report to us?
I have nothing that I could report tonight, but I could easily have a report for the next on the Service and Rec Committee meeting next Tuesday, I believe that is, to get some feedback on how their approaches went and how their seasons went. I heard some secondhand stories, but nothing, from a official city employee.
Sure.
From some parents that I know.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. I'm good with whatever you guys decide. If they're going to follow the guidelines and be willing to change on a dime. Okay.
And I agree with that as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Economic Development Director, Brian Glaser.
Council President Henry, Mayor Roach, members of council, and members of the community. Just to reiterate what the mayor and Mr. Dula have been saying about the playground. If you haven't driven by and gotten out and looked at it, I would really recommend it. It is spectacular. There are pieces of equipment that I've never seen before. A very interesting piece of equipment. There's a swing that allows an adult and a toddler to be on the same swing facing each other, and they have a holder in there for your cell phone to take selfie pictures. Just as an example of keeping up with new parents and how they interact with their kids. So, but it's a beautiful playground, very colorful, and extremely well done. And just to remind everybody, financed with a $120,000 grant from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. So we'll count that playground as a success. If you haven't had a chance, please drive by and take a look at it. Now you get out and walk around it as well. And then the other item, I am very pleased to report that as of August 20th, 2541 Hilltop Road closed. So the city of Richmond Heights no longer owns the NSP house on Hilltop Road. Otis and Marissa Talley are the owners.
Cool.
Otis Talley was also the general contractor. They have rebuilt and renovated and built a beautiful home that will now be paying taxes to the city of Richmond Heights, and new driveway, new fence in the back, new deck, and the inside completely redone, and they did just a fantastic job. So, and I'm told from the oral history that I've picked up that this is about 14 years in the making, and there was a lot of pain and agony and misery over this house. But on behalf of the Tallies, I would like to thank everybody for doing everything to save the structure, because it's a very, very happy ending. So I'm pleased to report on. Because we have to finish up. There's one more reimbursement to the Tallies. We held that out until completion of the project, and that is coming out of the remaining NSP funds. And so we'll be closing out that entire NSP account as well. And furthermore, there's an individual at Cuyahoga County who is also very pleased. This is the last NSP out in the county, and they are now able to close out that program in Cuyahoga County. So that completes my report.
Madam President,
Yes.
President, I have a question for Brian.
Yeah.
Brian, can you give us an update about the lodge? What's going on there? When can we start expecting some activity in the renovation of the Kiwanis Lodge?
Yes. So we are still awaiting final construction drawings from the architect. He is telling us that he's going to get them to us this week. That then has to go through plan review to just be signed off. Then we move into the bid process, and so we were expecting to do the bid process end of August, beginning of September. So we would expect through that bid process and awarding the bid, we have to have it out there for about 2 weeks, and then we go through the bid process. So ideally, by the end of September, beginning of October, bid would be awarded and construction would begin. And we are including in the bid package that there would be no construction work the day before Election Day, day of Election Day, day after Election Day, so that first floor can still be used as a polling place. So I'd like to think end of September, beginning of October, see construction. We have until the end of March to actually spend the block grant and supplemental grant funds. So we should meet that deadline with no problem at all.
And a lot of this work can be done indoors, correct? I mean, the weather shouldn't affect some of the
right.
Some of the job.
Yeah, there's the outdoor patio and deck. And again, if we get underway by early October, that can be completed before any bad weather sets in. And then then it's indoor.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you for the update.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. City Engineer Lee Courtney.
Madam President, given that most of the things we're involved in have already been reported on by others, I will just say that probably the most interesting one is trying to get Cleveland Water Department to help us pay for the attendant damage for the water main break.
What is the price tag on the damage?
Don't have that yet. We will come up with a number when we have a little better feeling for what their attitude is about helping us to pay for it.
Sure, we're well over 100,000.
Well, all we know is we could estimate what it would be to peel off the asphalt, but until we see what's underneath, we can't come up with a total number.
Was there any damage done to the portion that was replaced a couple years ago?
Well, basically, all the asphalt in Richmond Road was part of that project. So we are hoping, based on what we saw during the break, that most of it is a delamination of the asphalt, not an undermining of the base, because that's where the big bucks would be.
I'm talking about the big patch that we put in there when the last water main blew up probably 100-foot section from the intersection all the way to the bridge.
Oh, that definitely is blown up. But again, hopefully it's just the top layer of asphalt. And the same thing applies to the lower lot at the fire station because there were sections that totally blew off and we could see the water running across the top of the intermediate asphalt below the surface asphalt.
Lee Franklin team question. As long as we're talking about that area, I looked at the damage there. It's quite extensive from the eye. But I also was quite concerned about the bridge that goes over that culvert. Couple questions. I'm not an engineer, but boy, I tell you what, I don't think I'd want to walk on that bridge. There's a tree trunk that is underneath it, wedged in, that supports the middle of the bridge, and it's jammed into the culvert. The school has now put a retention basin there to collect waters and let it out. Of the angle of that doesn't look like it's compatible to the creek or to the opening of Richmond Road. Is there anything that maybe the civil engineers for a bridge, for a walkway, or for a bridge? I know we have some handicapped people that came to our council meetings in the past that uses that area to get to and from. I know it's a big ticket item, but I'll tell you something. It really doesn't look like it's right to support any kind of person or vehicle, bicycle, or anything like that going across it.
Well,
Any
we do
comments?
know that the sidewalk south of the pedestrian bridge has been undermined, and that will be included in the cost of repairing the pavement and the fire station parking lot. As far as the bridge itself, we got a price about a year ago, and I think it was about 60 to 80,000 for the material cost to get a prefab bridge. And there would then be the cost of a contractor to put it in place and remove the old one. But it's an excellent item for budget talks.
Thank you.
I think just for the clarification of the others that are listening, we're talking just about the sidewalk bridge or the walking bridge, not the main road bridge.
Right.
Absolutely.
Main road bridge is quite a few $1 million more. So this 80,000 is just for the sidewalk, kind of a one-piece sidewalk bridge over the creek.
Okay. Thank you. Service Director Donald Kniske.
He sent a memo that he won't be at the meeting tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, then we go into the audience comments area. I will add before, since I heard that we don't vet anything and that supposedly is our job, which is not true. But in regards to taking these comments, I will say, we have long ones. We have 6 pages of long comments. I mean, it's at least 6 people. These are comments and also people's opinions, and we are not fact checking them. And we are aware that some things are said are not true. So this council, I will let people know based on all these comments. Where applicable, we will respond at another time. For most of us, this is the first time we're hearing some of this. And most of all, this council will and does act in the best interest of the city, no matter what people are saying. So carry on, clerk, with reading the comments, please.
Okay. The one, I think I'm down to 5 because there was a resident, Kathy Gamatees. I think she sent her letter to Dan Ursu. So I think she just might have it to him privately. And Chief Wetzel, did you want me to read that letter from Dr. Donovan Huff in the comments for today?
Yeah, that's up to you if you wanted to. That was, I think he was just setting that to just give us some insight on his feelings on Cop Scouts, but it's not terribly long. I think it was very powerful.
Okay, sure. I'll start with that one. That is from Dr. Donovan Huff, and this is regarding the Cop Scouts program to Chief Wetzel. he says, Jaden Huff was enrolled in Cop Scouts upon its inception because of her desire to become a canine police officer. Like many children, they have that burning desire to do something in life at times when they don't even understand why. At age 5, Jaden had a drawn love to become an officer. Instead of playing with dolls, she wanted to pick up a police car with lights and sounds. My daughter requested a party not at Chuck E. Cheese, but at the Cleveland, Ohio Main 911 Center when she was 9 years old, and Chief of Police of Cleveland made that happen. I know firsthand about the trials and tribulations and overcomes life turns both good and bad, but the recovery is what is key. You don't drown in a river from the water. It's your inability to come out of it while you drown. Growing up in the hardest areas of Cleveland, Ohio, 79th and Huff was not an easy task, and still be able to be where I am today, serving the general public, graduating college, and trying to make a success story out of my life. As a single parent, raising my daughter on my own for the past 8 years was hard, but seeing her happy makes that journey so much easier. Seeing this great organization, the Cop Scouts, is greater than you can imagine from a parent's standpoint, but seeing it directly impact your child in a positive manner is over the top. Our culture, our country's racial divisions, police engagements, citizens' responsibility, equality may at times be the topic of discussion. But today, on this day, I have witnessed 2 of the best officers that run the Cop Scouts take the badge off and be human Supermans in this children's eyes. To sit and watch them be father role models, to assist the teaching and the basic fundamentals of sharing, being a team, a mission driven to collective efforts, not caring about race, gender, or financial stability. Just loving these children as their own was simply amazing. I see the Cop Scouts vision, and it's greater than just a children's police club. It's a necessity to breathe life back into hope and children's dreams of being not just a police officer, but decent human beings with a purpose. Very truly yours, Dr. Donovan Huff, VP of National Operations at Resilience Health Systems, regarding her daughter, Jaden Huff.
Oh, I like it. Nice. Thank you.
That was both, Todd Leisure and Tim Casto has been involved in that. So really thank them for their extra efforts on that. And a number of us around the edges. I know the chief and I have attended some of the meetings and things. So it was going strong until the COVID kind of put a crimp in their style. But I think everybody's anxious to get going back with that program again.
Great.
Okay, and our second letter comes from Patricia Ackerman at 456 Rushmore Drive. And it was directed to Councilman Mark Alexander, I think maybe because he was her councilman in her Ward 4. Greetings to you. As you know, since the summer of 2018, I have been actively and consistently following all developments regarding Bella Oaks. From pre-COVID council and planning and zoning commission meetings at City Hall to community conversations at the Kiwanis Lodge to the last 5 months of virtual Zoom meetings since COVID, including public hearings to consider establishment of the NCA, I have devoted numerous hours to monitoring all things Bella Oaks. In addition, I have submitted dozens of written questions directly to Deal Point Merrill about Bella Oaks on behalf of the concerned taxpayers of Richmond Heights. I have also had one-on-one conversations with David Frank. Needless to say, for the past 2 years, I have made paying attention to Richmond Heights' most significant development in 60 years a personal priority. More importantly, I have also been talking to neighbors across our city about Bella Oaks over the past 2 years. Here's some of what I have learned. Number one, many residents are clueless about Bella Oaks and believe the city has made little effort to keep them informed. Number two, other residents have heard something about the demolition of the mall, but are not aware of when or what is planned to replace it. Number three, still others are familiar with Bella Oaks, but wonder whose idea it was to build 700 plus apartments on that site. Number four, of course, some residents could care less about any of it. Ironically, no matter what they may have known beforehand, it is now clear to me that most residents do not want more apartments in Richmond Heights, period. Why? Number one, overwhelmingly, they believe that in less than 5 years, Bell Oaks will become an unsuccessful venture for Deal Point Merrill and will then be sold to a buyer who will convert it to low-income Section 8 housing. Number two, residents see no direct benefit to their individual households from Bell Oaks, such as lower taxes, high property values, or enhanced city services. Current tax abatement strategies, both approved like the CRA and proposed like the TIF, place an undue fiscal burden on the city's schools. That burden will create ongoing financial challenges to property owners for the next 3 decades. Last but not least, residents have not been asked their opinions about what they desire to see replace Richmond Town Square. Given all the foregoing, my questions to you, a veteran city leader and my councilman, are as follows. Number one, why do you support a development that many city residents simply do not want? Number two, what are the tangible benefits of Bell Oaks to the average homeowner? Number three, since it appears that the developer has gotten whatever he desires from the city leaders, were there any deal breaker conditions set forth by the city for the developer to meet? If so, what were they? Have those conditions been met? Number four, who is responsible for fact checking the Bell Oaks publicity Deal Point Merrill has promoted via postcard mailers to the community and full page newspaper advertisements? If not, when will someone from the city hall be tasked with that responsibility? Number five, since your relationship with the Richmond Heights schools is less than cordial, is it possible that intolerance precludes you from objective decision-making? Are you concerned that your decision-making as it relates to the schools may be perceived as vindictive? Number six, are you willing to delay any further decision-making related to Bell Oaks until you and your colleagues have surveyed residents regarding their preferences? Number seven, before any council vote on TIF, are you willing to have a conversation with me, your constituent, about Bell Oaks in the immediate future? And that's it. That's from Patricia Ackerman. I have a letter from the Richmond Heights City Schools, and it looks like it's signed by all of the Richmond Heights administrative cabinet. I was told that I believe Marnisha Brown is on the line, and she requested if she could read this letter. It's about 1, 2, 3 pages. Let me see if she's on the line here. What? Oh. Go ahead, Eloise. What did you say? Eloise, you're muted.
We have so many of these. I'm going to let the clerk read them. So we have 5 of these, and they're very long. So clerk, please go and continue to read.
Okay. Dear Richmond Heights City Council, Richmond Heights Local School District has always been an intimate place where learning was personalized to meet the needs of individual students and families. While some have not always embraced the shift in the district that has occurred over the past 15 years, the school district has remained true to its tenets of educating the community it serves. Being a small school district, we have responded to state mandates, unconstitutional funding policies, gentrification, and a myriad of other social concerns that have plagued the urban core, while yet educating the students and families we serve. Recently, we as school administrators have had to respond to a campaign of misinformation regarding our school district and students. While we typically are not involved in community politics, we have been forced to speak to the facts of our school community. Bell Oaks is a project that in fact can help revitalize our city and hopefully our school district. Being partners with our city is paramount, but we must stand together on facts, on the side of truth. Misinformation creates problems that school administrators have to respond and react to regularly. In fact, we are responding to scenarios, discussions, and statements that we are not privy to or should be. Education is our job, and creating a viable educational experience is our creed. Creating a negative image of our school district and leadership only disservices our students who don't understand the politics behind city revitalization and gentrification, nor should they have to. We as educators are bound to provide facts. Devoid of truth, misinformation then becomes fact. Deal Point Merrill have disseminated misinformation that should be clarified. The postcard forwarded by Deal Point Merrill in February 2020 stated the following: The current property tax valuations are locked in for 30 years with zero loss of tax revenue. They also noted that additional revenue to schools would come through income tax revenue. According to City Council records, Council voted in December 2019 to make the mall and the Hilltop Plaza part of a community reinvestment, which allows for a 100% property tax abatement for 15 years. In fact, it would actually cost the district an additional $1 million annually to provide educational services for our families. Deal Point Merrill stated that they are community partners supporting the schools via sponsorship of various events, clubs, and activities. To date, RHLSD, the local school, is unaware of any pending sponsorships of various events, clubs, or activities related to the district. The city and school district are to receive approximately $907,000 from current delinquent mall property taxes. Due to current zoning, the schools will not receive the entire $907,000. In fact, they must share the property tax from the mall with South Euclid-Lyndhurst, and with South Euclid-Lyndhurst receiving the majority of the taxes due to the larger size of the project being in South Euclid School District. While Richmond Heights schools are working diligently to improve the quality of education for our students, we would like to highlight the following accomplishments. The Ohio Department of Education measures the student progress within these subgroups: Black, economically disadvantaged, and students with disabilities. As a district, we were able to close the achievement gap in English language arts by 75% and in math by 25%. We have improved our graduation rate and have surpassed the ODE's expectations for our subgroups. RHLSD has increased the percentage of students participating in the college, have increased the percentage participating in College Credit Plus while earning college credits while still in high school by 20%. In the past 5 years, RHLSD has increased the number of students participating in vocational programming. The school currently has approximately 50% of its students, grades 11 and 12, participating in the Excel Tech Consortium. RHLSD has received the following competitive grants. Number 1, School Quality Improvement Grant. Number 2, Community Connectors Grant. 3, Expanding Opportunities Grant. 4, 21st Century Grant. Deal Point Merrill claimed that because of RHLSD's fiscal irresponsibility, the future development that is yet to be built is somehow responsible for the fiscal mess of the district. In 2014, RHLSD was in fiscal caution per ODE. In 2018, RHLSD was released by ODE from fiscal caution that included cost-cutting measures like staff layoffs and academic program reductions. In 2017, Issue 62 was passed, where voters approved the financing of a new 21st Century Community Learning Center. This new facility will house grades 7 to 12, as well as provide amenities for the entire community to include Richmond Heights County Library and a space for the Silver Sneakers program. This levy is also to actualize the aviation program for the students in our community. The levy was a 3-part issue. Part 1, the overall building project cost approximately $27 million. However, our school district had a debt ceiling of $17.5 million, which we could issue bonds as determined by the state auditor. Part 1 only sought permission to issue bonds in the amount of $17.5 million. Part 2 left a balance of the approximately $9.5 million to be paid through a permanent improvement levy. Part 3, this portion of the levy is an operating tax that would cover the operating expenses for the district and the new facility. We must remember that our school district's overall tax base has declined by $187 million since 2007. The alarm had to be sounded as students within our district were forced to learn in dilapidated conditions where ceilings were falling in on them and proper ventilation was not allowed due to the old building structures. Having a differing viewpoint on any matter should allow us to find common ground in what an acceptable learning environment should be for any student, especially the ones within the communities you serve. Deal Point Merrill stated that while RHLSD bemoans the school voucher system as another substantial cause of the school district's financial problems, the truth is that the voucher system would not exist with a passing grade. In March 1997, the U.S. United States Constitution deemed school funding unconstitutional with no remedy to date. Richmond Heights is a capped district in its funding, receiving no extra funds based on new enrollees. Peel-off dollars such as Ed Choice and charter schools take public dollars to fund private education. In fiscal year 2018-2019, our Ed Choice voucher expenditures were $293,524. Charter school funding cost the district $818,270. Ed Choice only gives Richmond Heights schools 27% of the $6,020 lost because the city is classified as a relatively high wealth community. The school district has in fact made a proposal, and the reason for the denial of Deal Point Merrill's offer to taxpayers during the State of the School address in February 2020 and the school district's virtual town hall meeting in August 2020, it was explained that the offer made to the district was not viable and warranted further discussion. In short, the ask that the district proposed was a mere drop in the bucket for a multi-million-dollar developer. The town hall meeting, as well as the State of the Schools address in February 2020, also highlighted the ask for community members to take a look at other districts such as Warrensville City Schools and Orange City Schools to understand the type of financial agreement that could be reached in order to hold harmless the school district. As adults, we lead the charge to be the example for our children as they are watching. Disagreements will happen, but how we emerge from them speaks to the character of our city and school district. We are calling on our better angels to stand up to any outsiders who may come in and divide and force all parties to stand on all the facts. Yours in educational partnership and equity for all. The Richmond Heights Local School Administrative Cabinet, which is Kelly Askew Tucker, Elizabeth Boyd, Marnisha Brown, Lakeisha Davies, Joy Howard, and Phillips Stevens. Okay. So that is the third letter. This next letter is from, it looks like the Richmond Heights Local School Board. Nika Slade Jackson, Bobby Jordan, Frank Barber, and Hugh Turner. Dear leaders and residents, why are we all so silent? Our silence equals consent. When we are silent, we give others permission to mistreat, demonize, and destroy not just our community where we live, but also the people who show up to effect change. Silence has been a common theme in the recent decade here in Richmond Heights. I have been a resident and a homeowner in Richmond Heights since 1995. I have seen and even experienced ugliness, political divide, and extremely dangerous narratives. I have witnessed these narratives play out in a very public way via local media. While I understand that as people, we all have different perspectives, strategies, and ways of reaching collective goals, I have never seen such an outright attack on the school district and its leader, Dr. Renee Willis. Her efforts to improve the lives of the children in this city have been demonized by an outsider and supported in silence by insiders in the way that I have seen any other elected or appointed leader in the city. Black leaders who assert an opinion or practice outside of the not so invisible powers that be. Opposing forces who cowardly throw the rock and hide your hand. We see you. We all see you. Rather than speaking in private about the consequences that Black leaders have faced when advocating for, let's face it, the families who look like them, how about we have a courageous discussion about it, as openly as these leaders of progress have been bullied, humiliated, and vilified. What leaders do I reference? I'm glad you asked. The theme is as follows. In 2010, Dr. Linda T. Hartwick, past superintendent, presided over our school district during a major racial crisis. While she worked to simply conduct an investigation of the claims made by students against a coach, hoping to understand the trauma which had been inflicted upon our students, she was met at every turn by a majority male, all-white board who use the media to discredit, devalue, and ultimately destroy her very essence. Who else you'd like to know? The Honorable Maisha Hedden, the first Black woman to ever be elected mayor in this city, just 4 years after Dr. Hardwick was run out of office before her term was ever even started. While Mayor Maisha may have had a political agenda that was unpopular among her colleagues, she was constantly portrayed as hostile and uncooperative in the media, giving way to her ultimate demise 10 short months after her election. Aside from each of these leaders being Black women, they both had the academic and intellectual capacity to be appointed or elected to the highest office and positions in our city's governmental entities. They were each painted in a light that was just not seen as antithetical to some opposing view, but the narrative was positioned as if these Black women leaders were unstable, untrustworthy, confrontational, and simply not worthy of carrying out the duties they had been elected or appointed to do. The negative portrayal of each of these women caused for great division in our city and made Richmond Heights during those times probably one of the least desired cities to aspire to live. That was the background. This is the now. When I read the Deal Point Merrill advertised open letter to Richmond Heights residents, I could not help but think, here we go again. Yet another Black leader who is advocating for families in this community, particularly for the ones who look like her, the ones who look like me, being bullied, humiliated, and vilified. The ones who are users of the public school district, which is, yes, a majority African-American student base, diverse immigrant population, boasting students that represent more than 10 different countries, and nearly 20% of the families comprised of students with special needs. Yes, we are a majority minority and still remarkably diverse school district. Yes, Black lives matter to us. Yes, immigrant lives matter to us. Yes, students with disabilities lives matter to us. They simply matter to Dr. Willis, which is why she is advocating for the resources needed to improve upon the quality of education that our community can afford them, rather than detract from it. It matters to Dr. Willis, which is why she worked extremely hard during her tenure to change the narrative about how this community and even the world sees our children. It matters to Dr. Willis, which is why she has been the visionary leader that she is known all across this state and country to be, as she worked to change the manner in which our children even see themselves. Dr. Willis has been heralded across this state, receiving numerous awards and accolades, like the Betsy Powell's Award for her exceptional transformation efforts that have unfolded in our district. And while the intentionally flawed and booby-trapped report card may not reflect her worth or the worth of our students, education leaders all over this state have recognized the transition in Richmond Heights local schools thanks to Dr. Willis's leadership. Yet here we are again, where with the failed swipe of a pen that shows up in a local newspaper unravels the efforts of her superintendents and the progress of students and teachers because the wealthy white establishment has the power to control media by misrepresenting facts and given the perception that there's something wrong, that Dr. Willis and school leaders are not to be trusted, and that our students and our district are failing. Well, I reject the lie. I reject the old divisive narrative that had the city in turmoil in the past, and I ask you to break your silence and reject it too. I ask you to join me and my colleagues on the board in letting Deal Point Merrill know that, number one, our superintendent is now and has always been extremely transparent and forthcoming regarding the facts concerning our district's finances, and anyone who wishes to learn more can access info. And she has a link, a YouTube link underneath this, which this will be posted with the minutes. Number two, our school district and the students who attend Richmond Heights local schools are not seen as failing. Rather, our community has worked around the clock to correct the false narrative and manufactured crisis that has been placed upon our students by a flawed report card system and funding methods that have been deemed unconstitutional. Check out our district quality profile to read and share the great things that are happening in our district. And again, there is a link under that point as well. Number 3, we embrace Black women leaders who fight for our families here in Richmond Heights and reject and denounce any person or entity who works to negatively portray them by misrepresenting facts, spreading untruths, or assassinating their character. Number 4, while many of us are keen on the idea of attracting economic development to our city, we have come too far as a community to allow outsiders the ability to dismantle progress by tearing down our schools, creating a division among our people, and demonizing our leaders. No matter how much money any developer invests in a pretty campus, ugly politics will turn off current and future residents, resulting in a loss for all of us who live here. Our city simply cannot afford decimating politics. Break your silence. It is not okay to sit idly by. Our children's image of themselves depends on it. The reputation of our city and its leadership is at stake. Your silence affords permission to destroy the progress that we've all worked so hard to gain and the people who helped us to get here. Speak out, stop the hate, do what's right for the folks that live here. Sincerely, Nika Slade Jackson, President, Bobby Jordan, Vice President, Frank Barber, Board Member, and Hugh Turner, Richmond Heights Local School Board of Education. And this is the last letter from Judy McElroy, resident. Greetings. I am writing to urge you to vote no on any legislation that would allow Deal Point Merrill development to proceed, and at the very least, that would grant a second 15-year tax abatement. The Bell Oaks development that was first presented has now become something I hardly recognize, and it's something I certainly do not want for my community. We do not need 800 plus new apartments in our city, period. And we definitely don't need 800 plus new apartments in a visibly prime location in the city. Other developments in our city, the Woods, Highland Ridge, etc., have fallen short of expectations. What is it to keep Bell Oaks from becoming the next regrettable mistake? Richmond Heights needs a developer whose plans are good for this city. This isn't it. Please let it go. Your voice and vote matter. The request from Deal Point Merrill for a second 15-year tax abatement is insufferable and unconscionable, but yet you are considering it. There is no agreement between the schools and Deal Point Merrill, and apparently there does not have to be one. Consequently, Deal Point Merrill is throwing its weight around like a schoolyard bully, and the city of Richmond Heights is its target. I need you to break the chokehold, stand up to Deal Point Merrill, and get a fair and equitable deal on the table. A second 15-year tax abatement has the potential to devastate our schools. Our children deserve your protection and support. And quite frankly, the Bell Oaks development is not worth the higher taxes I will have to pay if the school district is not made whole. It looks like everyone is paying a hefty price to satisfy this billionaire developer from California, and the only one who is winning is the developer. The schools are a part of our city, hence they too are your responsibility. Protect our schools from devastation and taxpayers from higher taxes. You know what it will take. Mark, use your voice and vote to make this a win-win. If you didn't know who Deal Point Merrill was before last Thursday's Sun Messenger's centerfold was published, now you know. We all know. We all know that Deal Point Merrill does not know how schools operate. We know that Deal Point Merrill does not know how schools are financed. We know that Deal Point Merrill does not know how far our schools have come during the superintendent's tenure. Most of the community remember what a mess the school district was in. Chaos, unrest, and scandal before she arrived. We are proud to have a professional educator of her caliber leading our school district. Underestimating our support for our superintendent is foolhardy. For sure, the advertisement paid for by Deal Point Merrill says more about them than it does about our superintendent. I do wonder, though, why Deal Point Merrill feels so comfortable disrespecting our schools and our superintendent. Is it Deal Point Merrill the developer you thought they were? Is this really the developer with whom you want to do business? Without the benefit of a crystal ball, I hope you can see who they are and what they are doing and what doing business with them may be like. Not all business is good business. Your voice and vote matter. Mark Alexander, Councilman Ward 4, I want you to vote no on a second 5-year tax abatement for Deal Point Merrill. I want you to get out of the clutches of this developer and represent the voices of the people. I hold you accountable every time you cast a vote that not only misrepresents Ward 4, but also works against each of us. Don't make us live with your forced will and its implications for 30 years and beyond. Mark, our votes count too. Judy McElroy, 22180 Harms Road. And those are all the letters for tonight. Eloise, you're on mute. Hey, Eloise, you're still on mute. Eloise, I can't hear you. There, there you go.
I know. I keep losing the controls. This is what happens at about this time of night. All right, we'll move on to old business. Thanks.
Okay, under old business, we have nothing. New business, resolution 76, 2020, introduced by Mayor Roach and council, first reading. A resolution adopting the City of Richmond Heights evacuation plan.
Mayor?
Yeah, I think, do we want to keep these things on first reading, or do we want to pass it tonight? I guess either way would go, but traditionally some of the resolutions, we try to carry a few readings.
All right. Yeah, we can hold it. Appreciate it. Hold it on the first reading. Okay, next.
Resolution 77, 2020, introduced by Mayor Roach and council, first reading. A resolution accepting an assistance to firefighters grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and authorizing the payment of matching funds from the city.
I'd recommend passage this evening on this grant opportunity.
Move for suspension.
Second the motion.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Ursu?
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Ursu?
Yes.
Resolution 77, 2020 passes unanimously.
Resolution 78, 2020, introduced by Lentine, first reading. A resolution authorizing the mayor to accept and expend 3 threat assessment training grants from the Ohio Attorney General.
Madam President, this has been discussed in the Safety Committee of Council. It's 3 small grants totaling $1,500 to help train our police officers. With that, perhaps Chief Wetzel might have other comments, but it is my recommendation as the chairman for passage, or to suspend the rules tonight for passage.
I didn't really have much to add to it, Councilman. These were training classes that we took, and they gave us a stipend for attending them. And we have a couple more officers and some more at a later time, but I thought it was important to make sure that we have this cleared and so that we could use it as we need it, because we're trying to get an officer through DARE training, and this would be really helpful.
I agree.
Second on the suspension.
Thank you.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Ursu?
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second.
Motion.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Ursu?
Yes.
Resolution 78, 2020 passes unanimously.
Resolution 79, 2020, introduced by Ursu, first reading. A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county fiscal officer and declaring an emergency.
Yes, Madam President, as discussed in caucus, we covered this last week in Finance Committee of Council, and this is something we do on an annual basis. The numbers are very factual, and Jim has been working on them. If our Finance Director, Jim Technic, would like to comment, that'd be great.
Yeah, just as I discussed earlier this evening, this is accepting the rates and resolutions from the County Budget Commission for the tax collection year of 2021 for the levies in the city of Richmond Heights.
Move for suspension.
Second motion.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second the motion.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Resolution 79, 2020 passes unanimously.
Resolution 80, 2020, introduced by Ursu, first reading. A resolution authorizing payment for the services of the Walter H. Drain Company for necessary codification services.
Yes, Madam President, this was also discussed last week in Finance Committee of Council. As a legislative body, City Council throughout the year passes numerous pieces of legislation, and periodically, in order to make these new laws and ordinances available to our residents, we employ the services of Walter Drain, and they put them in a format that makes them available to the public, and I would recommend passage of this particular piece of legislation.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Move for
Move
passage.
passage.
Second the motion.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Resolution 80, 2020 passes unanimously.
Resolution 81, 2020, introduced by Mayor Roach, first reading. A resolution authorizing the sale of unneeded items of specific personal property of the city of Richmond Heights through an internet auction by govdeals.com Incorporated.
Yes, this is just to sell this property that we no longer need. I'd recommend passage this evening.
Move for suspension.
Second.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Resolution 81, 2020 passes unanimously.
Resolution 82, 2020, introduced by Mayor Roach, first reading. A resolution authorizing the disposal of equipment that is unneeded, obsolete, and unfit for city purposes.
Yes, this is the equipment that has very like no value. And so we normally, according to legislation, need to list this and to be able to dispose of it. So I'd recommend passage this evening.
Move for suspension.
Suspension.
Second.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second the motion.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
And that's it for legislation.
Okay, resolution 82, 2020 passes unanimously.
You okay?
Yeah, just missed swallow. Any additions? All right, meeting adjourned. Good night.
Thank you, Madam President. Have a good night.
Thank you, you all too.
Good night.